So, while we've been dealing with the situation in Ukraine, by dealing with, of course, I mean I've been, we've directly been piloting the Bayraktar Turkish drones that have been vaporizing Russian convoys. People said hi to me in Kharkiv. I shouldn't lean into that joke. I shouldn't. I shouldn't lean into that one. It's very funny, but I, sh- I shouldn't. Okay, look, the point that I'm trying to get at is that conservatives have been pushing for a virtually unprecedented wave of anti-LGBT legislation, and we have to cover some of it, okay? So, I wish I could say it was just the conservatives, but it's also Disney, but I repeat myself. So, the Florida Senate, just a few days ago, passed a bill which would prohibit, quote, classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity, end quote, in the state's primary schools. It's been called the Don't Say Gay bill by its opponents for fairly obvious reasons. The governor of Florida, who is demonic, supports it naturally. But anyway, this is just a small part of a larger a larger attack on LGBTQ rights, youth as well, I would say. Here. The measure bans classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through third grade. It also prohibits such teaching in a manner that is not age-appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students, which critics say could be interpreted to extend to all grade levels. So I want to talk to this, to this point for a moment. Um, People say, like conservatives have long said, sex education should be taught in the home. It's not the place for teachers. The reasons they want to do this, conservatives, the reasons they don't want this stuff taught is because they want to their children, all right? As we all know, and there's research to indicate this, sex education and gender education for young people, like kindergartners and stuff, gives them the education that they need to identify if they're being sexually abused. Now, there are, I am being a bit blasé here. There are two reasons why. They want to protect their children, and they want gay children to die. That's so. There we go. Those are the two. Sorry, I was being a bit simplistic there by reducing it simply. Many conservative positions can be reduced down to the they want children element, but in this case, we do have two parallel, political motivations moving forward. I encourage anyone, and I imagine, people are going to talk with me about this in the near future because I want to debate people on this. What exactly is the harm in teaching children basic sex and gender education? The answer, of course, is that there is none. None whatsoever. There is no evidence that it causes any harm. There is evidence that it can help in a variety of ways, particularly with regards to minimizing abuse of children, which, call me old-fashioned, but I think that's probably a good thing to minimize the abuse of children. That seems like probably a good thing. Vosh, don't you think it's good to set reasonable guidelines for sex ed at various age levels? So I have 17 things that I would like to say in response to this. First of all, if those guidelines are to be set, they should be set by educators and I imagine, like doctors, like the consultations they give, rather than politicians. When politicians go forward on this, it is a moral qualm for them. As is the case here, they are fighting not against ill education, but degeneracy, which has always been sort of the covert reason for these don't teach sex ed stuff, or the reason why conservatives seem unusually opposed to the teaching of stuff like sodomy or oral sex because they think that sex should be done purely for procreation, or I guess in their case, their children. In terms of reasonable guidelines, I must ask, what reasonable guidelines? I had sex education when I was in kindergarten. It was very simple and straightforward. Seriously, it's not a big deal. Like, you're in kindergarten. Like, what do you think they're doing? Like, getting like Bang Bus videos up on screen for you and showing you like diagrams on the freeze frames? Like, I was sitting in class and a teacher went up there and they were like, all right, now here's how babies are made. And it was just like a simplified diagram of the genitalia of males and females. And it was like, okay, you do this and then sex happens. And sometimes people have sex in other ways too, and they can do it for fun, but also you make babies this way. And that was it. Nothing bad happened. Nothing, nothing bad happened. Yeah, people, like conservatives act as though they're teaching children to have sex or how to have sex, I guess, apart from the very basic mechanical elements of it, as opposed to here's a basic understanding of the biology of your own body that's fairly important just to know, you know? Like, there's just no harm done to this. There's no harm. I encourage you, find me. Where is the harm? Facts over feelings, folks. Where is the harm? I had 2 sex education classes. One of them was them in kindergarten, and then I had a more substantive one in, I think, like 6th grade, or no, it would have been 8th grade, I think. It was sometime in middle school, 6th to 8th grade, sometime during then, where I had a more substantive sex education, which they separated the boys and the girls, and they had my gym teacher did the men's one, and I don't know who did the girls one because I wasn't there. Uh, I'm not trans, to my knowledge. That sometimes this stuff springs in you later, but I don't think I am. And what I remember from that class was basically like just stupid kids like giggling while asking questions, right? Like, it was like 7th grade or whatever, and I was in the boys' sex ed room, and the coach was up there going like, "All right, you're gonna learn about dicks. You're gonna learn about balls. You're gonna learn about cum." It's so shit. And the guys in the class are like, what if what if you took your dick and you slapped someone on the face? Do they like that? And the coach would be like, some people like that. Next question. It's like it was stupid. It was like people like, no, really. Yeah, the Beavis and Butthead stuff, really. Vosh, I understand sex ed and why it's good, but could you please talk about the benefits of gender education? So this wasn't around back when I was in school because this is all pretty new stuff, but like I'm pretty sure like okay, no, they did talk about sexuality stuff, which also the proponents of this bill don't want you talking about, right? But like back when I was in class, it was like, okay, so this is how you make baby. Sometimes people are gay. That's it. And that was pretty much the end of it. I imagine that with regards to the gender stuff, it's like 30 seconds, right? Like, especially if you're in like kindergarten or something, it's like, now, okay, here's how you make babies, Now, sex and gender aren't the same thing. Sometimes people can be born looking like this, but they are women, and that's okay, and vice versa. Any questions? And then some kid shits themselves because it's kindergarten. Like, I don't know. Like, what? So the harm to this, the detriment in with regards to this is nil. It's nothing. There's no harm done unless you're a conservative and you want to rape your kids. The benefit to this is that giving gay or trans or people who are future to be gay or trans kids, some like basic understanding of who they are, like even a word to orient their understanding around can be really helpful later on, right? Like, how many stories have you heard of people feeling weird for like 12 years and they only just after those 12 years realize what the term trans means, or just realize that people can be gay, and then they're like, oh my god, and then from there on it's just whoosh, like for people like that, being able to remember, hey, in my kindergarten class they said sometimes people are gay, it's I imagine quite helpful to them. Now, this wouldn't help me again because I'm a cis het straight girl liking boy in elementary school or whatever, and my parents were very supportive, uh but yeah, I don't know, it could probably help some other people, I'd say. I'm a very het boy, hetty het boy. Yeah, I love girls so much. They're so cool. Wow. Oh my god, boobies. Anyway, stop. We'll have these debates when we can, okay? Oh, somebody linked this tweet. It is quite funny. So Mark Hamill said, gay, 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 to which Ben Shapiro wisely said, so I take it you wish to indoctrinate small children into gender and sexual ideology. Guys, this is why I don't give a fuck about, oh, your optics. You said something that looks bad. If conservatives quote tweet you, they will do this to anything and anyone for any reason, okay? Um, I take it you wish to indoctrinate small children into gender and sexual ideology because that's the only reason you're parroting idiotic propaganda. Hey, Ben, I love mind reading acts. Now guess which finger I'm holding up, which is a pretty great response. You know, can you imagine if Mark Hamill had replied the way you cucks would have wanted him to? You know, Ben. Now to let you know, I don't support indoctrination of any kind. All right, I just want to let you know that. However, I find your behavior here very telling. I hate you. I hate all of you. So I'm never gonna let this go. We moved on. Please stop. Never. Anyway, it didn't take long after the Don't Say Gay bill was introduced for people to notice, you know, little oopsie doopsie moment here, that Disney was backing like 80% of the local legislators who were in favor of the Don't Say Gay bill. See, Disney has a really big hold on Florida, of course, because Disney World's in Florida, which means that Disney is incentivized to provide political donations to campaigns for people who will advocate for laws that favor Disney World, which usually mean, you know, pro-business policies, and that usually means, you know, uh, conservatives. What about Disneyland in California? I don't think even Disney money is going to move California away from its political disposition. But Disney's CEO said Friday the company is ceasing its political donations in Florida due to the state's so-called Don't Say Gay bill, and he apologized for the company's previous silence on the issue. You need me to be a stronger ally in the fight for equal rights, and I let you down, CEO Bob Chapek wrote in a statement to colleagues in the LGBTQ+, got the plus in their community, published Friday. I am sorry. The statement doubled down on comments he made supporting the community, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. Moving forward, this company was targeted by activists after it was discovered the company provided financial support for some of the bill's backers in the state legislature. The company reportedly donated around $300,000 to these backers over the last 2 years, according to a report from Popular Information, an online news site that reports and tracks corporate political contributions. Disney will donate $5 million to pro-queer organizations, which is nothing compared to Disney's budget. I missed the mark in this case, but I'm an ally you can count on. Right. Basically, what we're looking at right here is one of the classic ways in which capitalism can align with fascist political positions, right? So the kinds of people who are willing to give Disney tax breaks and favorable, you know, like legal standing are usually also the type of people who really don't care about the gays. Now, is Disney anti-gay? No. Disney is pro-money. And whether or not that means being pro or anti-gay is entirely up to the internal calculus that they engage in. Unfortunately, right now in America, we're in a position where it's most profitable to be pro-gay, but in a meaningless way. You guys remember the Beauty and the Beast remake, where the live action one, where they did this whole fuss over the first openly gay Disney character, which they've done like 20 times. And it was like some side character, and I think his name was like Fuckwit Shitlicker. And like his moment was at the end of the movie, he briefly danced with one guy and had no lines to that effect. Right? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Base name. Well, that was it. His name was literally the Fool. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the representation. Yeah, right. So there you go. Pro-gay Disney, you know? And hey, you know, they have queer media. You know, the Owl House is pretty gay, and then they canceled it, but now they're bringing it back. My feeling is this, okay? The people who run Disney, okay, if they could get away with it, would personally show up to the death camps to shoot queer people in the back of the head, okay? They would be singing you know, they would be singing like slave tunes, or you know, the field songs, like for days on end, happily piling dirt onto the, you know, the mass graves that they would pile you in. They hate you, they despise you, okay? However, there's another thing that they like, possibly even more, and it's money. Okay? So the contrast that we're running into at the moment is, you know, it's we're they are it's a very thin veneer of progressivism. And Disney is very much an old money company, in the sense that, like, there are some companies that I think are like legit progressive. Like, that's the vibe that I get from them. You know what I mean? Like, for example, a lot of video game companies, publishers, I get the feeling like a lot of the people in there who work there are like young and pretty cool people, right? Like, sometimes video games are pretty progressive, and like oftentimes, I don't know, I get the vibe that the people who work there are legitimately oriented. Yes, Ben and Jerry's, thank you. Like, legitimately, oriented in that way. But for Disney, I think it's really pulling teeth. Very much pulling teeth. Okay, I get the Blizzard jokes, but you guys know what I mean, right? I'm kind of blanking on examples right now because I'm tired, but like, there are a decent number of game studios that have, at the very least, I think, a disproportionately positive attitude towards, like publishers, the Celeste devs, indie stuff, sure, but like even broader, the video game industry generally, I think, is more progressive than a lot of other big media industries. And Disney to me has to be like near the bottom. I just get the vibe that everything they do that isn't reactionary has to be pulled out of them with the teeth. But I saw Encanto recently. I didn't like it that much, but I thought it was good. Like, it wasn't my thing, but I thought it was good, if that makes any sense. Like, I can see how other people would really like that. Doesn't Ben and Jerry support Israel? No, the opposite, actually. They pulled support out of Israel in protest of what they were doing in Gaza. Yeah, they're actually one of the few companies on Earth that actually did BDS, if you can believe it. And Encanto was good. It wasn't my thing, but it was good. Anyway, God, okay, look. The point here is, gay people are good, straight people are bad. That was the point, okay? I get the vibe that animators and creators at Disney are progressive, but the business side is ultra-conservative. I get that feeling as well, yes.